Championship for professional drone racing teams. We are DCL Drone Champions League. I'm Matt Andrews, and this is race day 17 of 18 in our split one for 2023. Yes, we're coming to the concluding stages now, and when we get our top 6 teams after those race days, we'll take them to our live finals. That'll look like this. The top 6 will qualify, the top 4 will be in the main round, the 5th and 6th place teams will start in the elimination zone. If you lose a race from there, you're out of the tournament. Somebody will make it to the end. They'll be the Split 1 champions for 2023. Then we'll do it all again with Split 2 and our World Championship final at the end of the year. Before that though, we've got a couple of race days to go, and they feature matches in a best of 7, starting off with a 1v1, then 2v2s. Race number 4 is the Big Heat, where all 4 pilots from each team will fly against each other. Then if we need it, we'll have more 2v2s and finish on a 1v1 to settle the best of 7. And the teams taking part? Well, we have the best drone racing teams in the world, featuring Reutte Racing, the 2-time world champions, X-Blades Racing from the UK, who were the champions before them. Between them at the moment, Quad Force One, our team from America, who've been second in the world championship in the past. Then it's China Dragons, Cyclone Racing and SDT Perpetuum Coin, who are the other teams currently looking to go to the live finals. Cyclone would love to get out of 5th place though, and move up into 4th. To do that, they'll need to beat Haven today. Haven Airborne out of Norway are here with Eid, Holden, Holshagen and Peterson. Holshagen currently 9th in our pilot leaderboard with 14 wins. Their opposition, it's Cyclone Racing, who are here with the Ice Cheetah, Baraktal, J-Box and Zion. J-Box leading the team, 24 wins to his name. And the track we're going to be racing around today is set in Reutte Castle ruins in Austria. This is where the DCL began way back in 2016 with our real-life racing seasons before the pandemic. After our pilots have looped the loops around the balloons, they'll go through this Foxeer gate into a slalom. 1, 2 and 3, and then cross to a DCL drop gate, heading left around a pole to then make their way into the ladder. A left-hand descending ladder, come out of that. Ignore this gate you can see. You need to go around the balloon and make these 2 gates first. Then you come back to that one. And then the cage awaits you. Down, through and across, through and down and out, and then back in and back out again. It's as hard to fly as it is to say. The corkscrew after that is all good, then through the Castle Ruins tunnel. This is a perfect map of this real-life location, remember. Another drop gate awaits you here, 2 more turns, and then back around and under this archway to start another lap. 4 of them in total. So let's get into this, everybody. Let's go racing. Haven Airborne against Cyclone Racing begins with a 1v1. And this one's featuring Eid for Haven Airborne and the Ice Cheetah for Cyclone Racing, who's here in purple. Eid, the silver drone, is just behind him at the moment as they make their first approach over the balloons and then down through that tricky Foxeer drop on the other side. Here's the slalom on board with Eid, 0.3 of a second behind that leader. The Ice Cheetah's purple drone just ahead of him as they make their way into the ladder. Slightly wider for Haven's Eid there, which means he's lost a few tenths on the Ice Cheetah as they now climb their way around the balloons. Yes, that gap's opened up to twice the size. Into the cage we go. Eid chasing and threading and following the Ice Cheetah all the way out, and a nice approach to the corkscrew afterwards as well means he's keeping up with the Ice Cheetah, not getting too far ahead of him yet as they drop down through that drop gate, and a little bit more of a gap has appeared after that wobble he had. So we're on to the start of lap number 2. The Ice Cheetah just ahead of Eid for now over the balloons again. 1 second between them and a nice approach down by Eid. This is a little bit smoother than it was last time, but perhaps not quite fast enough. Let's see if he can start to close this gap on the Ice Cheetah. He's aggressively attacking the ladder, trying to hug a little bit closer to it than he was on lap number 1. We go around the far side of the course and then back through the 2 and the 3 rings, and he sees the Ice Cheetah ahead of him. Down to the cage, and he hits the corner of it, the top corner of it, and that's lost him a second and more. Recovered not badly, managed to finish it off, but the Ice Cheetah is getting away now. 2 laps in, 4 laps we're doing in total, remember? And the Ice Cheetah a little bit further ahead on the start of lap number 3. Eid having some trouble around the end of the lap. Let's take a look at our leader, who's running over the top of the balloons nicely. Good sweeping turn down to the Foxeer gate means he had good visibility of it on his approach to it, so he could do it quickly, as he's doing on all these other gates as well. He is not hanging about. That is aggressive work into the slalom. The ladder is no problem, and away he goes to the far side of the course, with the gap fractionally bigger over Eid than it was before. His route down to the corner of the cage is good. In and out, a little bit angular, a little bit twitchy, but fast. Now into the Reutte Castle tunnel, no problems there. He's not comfortable flying. It's aggressive, angular attacking is what we're seeing from the Ice Cheetah. And it works for him. It makes it fast. He's on to the 4th lap now, through the rings and heading to the balloons. Up and over, no problem. Doesn't look like he's holding back. What about Eid? Is Eid holding back? He needs to move. And it's the Foxier gate. Oh, Eid. The dive down from the balloons didn't have as much visibility at that gate as the Ice Cheetah was doing earlier on. Now it's a 4-second gap and surely a point for Cyclone Racing at the end of this lap. They see each other going in opposite directions on the balloons. The Ice Cheetah threads the cage with no difficulty at all. The corkscrew afterwards is good. It's just a tunnel and a few turns left for him. Before this race, the Ice Cheetah was 7th on our pilot leaderboard with 16 wins in total, and it's looking like he's got his 17th.
Alright. Yay.
Good racing.
Oh, yeah.
Atta boy.
Sweet.
Ooh.
Well, don't they look relaxed? Cyclone Racing chilled out at the start of this battle. The Ice Cheetah's got it all in hand for them. That's his 17th point for the season. It's 1-0 in this duel between them. Eid, you can see, was with the Ice Cheetah early on. Eid then actually clips this drop gate coming up. Just a little knock on him there. The bigger one, of course, was here on the cage. He managed to recover and get his bearings pretty quickly, which is difficult with that cage because it is twisting in so many directions. The Ice Cheetah was piloting his purple drone very quickly throughout, didn't seem to back off at any time. Eid, on the other hand, was running out of time and on the 4th lap aggressively tried to make this dive work. Just didn't have enough visibility on it, so he hit it instead. The Ice Cheetah almost overshot and then got very near to the middle, coming back through it. Dangerous flying on the corkscrew for him, but made it work. And will find his way to the DCL finish gate for the first point of the duel. Eid, on the other hand, these drop gates, he's not enjoying those. Good opening race between these teams. Let's go for the first of our 2v2s. Holshagen and Holden come in for Haven Airborne. The Ice Cheetah stays on for Cyclone and he's joined by his teammate Zion FPV. Holshagen already over a second behind after just a couple of turns at the beginning. That's surprising from him. It's going to be his teammate Eric Holden who's in the battle with the 2 purple drones just ahead of him. Drop gates and slaloms and ladders and scenery everywhere on this course. It's not easy by any means. We are the World Championship contenders, of course. We are the World Championship for drone racing teams. We can't make these things too easy. Let's take a look at the cage. Holden is keeping up with them. His corkscrew's not too bad, but the 2 purple drones slightly further ahead of him than they were earlier. Can't afford to let them get away, as it seems certainly the Ice Cheetah has got this track dialed in, and Zion is in front of him at the moment. On to lap number 2. Through the wall rings to the balloon, it's Zion just ahead of the Ice Cheetah, and then Holden has lost a little bit more time on them. We might just be having a race between the 2 purple Cyclone pilots to the end. In through the ladder. Ice Cheetah tries to get on the inside of his teammate Zion, bumped it, but he's still only 9/100ths of a second behind him. And now it's 5,000ths of a second between the 2 of them. Holshagen's desperate to get involved. Oh, into the cage on the far side of it, much like his teammate Eid did earlier. The turn in the drop into it. Oh, and the corkscrew again. Oh, Holshagen's nearly 3 seconds behind now, and midway between him and the 2 pilots from Cyclone, it's Holden. He's a little bit too far behind. I don't have anything to say about this race just yet, but we've got 2 laps to go. Zion close to the balloons as he chases his teammate and may well have seen the Haven Airborne drone of Holden looping over them at the same time. Zion's getting aggressive here. Look how much he's swinging around. Hits the ladder. Ruins his times. Not sure what happened to him on the approach for that, but it was all going a bit out of control. Leaves the Ice Cheetah out in front, and Holden now a lot closer to Zion for second place. Can he catch him with this lap and a half to go? Not if he hits the corkscrew and hits the ground afterwards and then can't find the way in. And out he comes. Oh, that's so disappointing for Eric Holden, such a famous pilot in the DCL. Raced with us in previous real-life seasons, pre-pandemic. Great to see him racing again with the DCL and for a Norwegian team. But this race is seeing him out the back for now. Zion wants to try and catch the Ice Cheetah, but the point is surely going to be for Cyclone one way or another. Zion, a little closer to Ice Cheetah now after that little hesitation on the turn. Surely the Ice Cheetah and Zion can't get so tangled up in the remaining part of this lap. Not when they're flying so well. Look how good the Ice Cheetah was in all of those obstacles there. Here's Zion's chase through the tunnel. Less than half a second between them. And he'd love to get this point for himself. Oh, but he's got caught after the drop gate and hits the ground. The Ice Cheetah is home.
I took the point.
Oh, man. You were right there with me, though, like the whole time. Most of that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Good job. Took 1 and 2.
How did Haven feel?
Jesus Christ.
Tredje kanskje.
A big difference between our team's reactions to that race. Haven Airborne's pilots Holshagen and Holden feeling cross with themselves for the mistakes that they made. A full start for Holshagen. He jumped the start, which means you get a 1 second penalty of no throttle, and that's why he was a second behind so early on. Zion was flying very nicely in the first lap. He was ahead of the Ice Cheetah. It carried on for a while. He had the better of the Ice Cheetah. They're both seemingly very at home in Reutte. Nicely done. Eric Holden trying to keep up with the two pilots from Cyclone. Swings for that drop gate nicely. This is good smooth flying from him. Made it out of the ladder. All good. Very much in contention here in the first lap. Slightly slower into the cage, but good coming out of it. Corkscrew is very nice as well. We've seen him fly some very tricky real-life courses with the DCL. Looks like he's enjoying our simulator too. On lap 2, Zion had lost the lead, but by a tiny margin to his teammate. In the Corkscrew, though, lost a little bit more time on the exit. In lap 2 as well, Holshagen hits that cage, manages to recover and makes a nice route out of the rest of it, but the Corkscrew gets him too. The recovery just heading up to the wall afterwards was pretty slick. Dangerous flying. Eric Holden finds the cage pretty smooth on lap number 3, but then hits the underside of the Corkscrew on his way in. That sends him down to the ground. Swing around the long way and complete the whole Corkscrew again. Now, all of our pilots have different preferences, of course, as to whether they like twisting obstacles like that cage, corkscrews, ladders, and so on. Of course, they all quite like a bit of speed too, but it seems that Cyclone don't really like our drop gates. And Zion hitting it just before the end of the 4th lap and the hillside afterwards. The Ice Cheetah, again, no signs of him sort of holding anything back and flying it safely. He just wants to get that finish gate. Now in the second 2v2, the other pilots have to perform, so we will see Eid and Peterson against J-Box and Baraktal. So Eid, of course, was in the opening 1v1, so he's already had a race on this track so far today. Here's his teammate, Peterson, just tucked in at the back and making nice routes to that Foxear gate, a little bit close to the rocks afterwards. Ahead of him, Baraktal and J-Box. Now they come up to the ladder. Baraktal's hit the middle of the ladder! And he's managed to come out of it in second place. Hit the middle of the ladder on his way in. That would normally have cost him quite a lot of time, and yet he's still ahead of Eid and Peterson. J-Box is out in front now with half a second of clear air and growing behind him through the Reutte Castle tunnel. No problems for him. He's coming around to the end of lap number 1. What can Eid and Peterson do about it? Oh, Peterson's into the tunnel wall. Oh, that's cost him a lot of time. That will lay him out in the tunnel, and he'll have to recover from there, and he's almost 10 seconds behind the action at the front, which again is all purple. Baraktal caught out on the slalom. That's an unusual place to get stuck. It's a fairly straightforward 1-2-3 slalom. He's now lost a lot of time on his teammate J-Box, and he might be worried about second, but he needn't be because Eid is 5 seconds behind him. This race is stretched out like we never see. J-Box up in the front. Now, we've seen that plenty of times. He is the standout performer for Cyclone Racing this year. He's managed to get 24 points already in split number 1. That's got him 5th on our pilot leaderboard, ahead of all the pilots from X-Blades Racing who have been in the DCL for many years and are currently the highest scoring team. In fact, Cyclone Racing are the only team with 2 pilots in the top 7. They really have made an incredible first season for themselves. J-Box leading the team. 4 seconds ahead of Baraktal now, who's 4 seconds ahead of Haven's Eid, who's 6 seconds ahead of Haven's Peterson. I've never seen a race with this much of a gap between each pairing of pilots. J-Box is flying a little bit like the Ice Cheetah, like his life depends on him winning this race, and not with any safety in mind at all. He's really aggressively attacking this and showing how well he can fly, and that is about as tight to the balloons as I've seen anyone do. Here comes the slalom. Yeah, that's pretty safe, solid flying there. The drop gate, not taking that safely at all, and now he's just full speed. Full send for J-Box and stretches away from all of the other pilots. around the balloon, and will head back and maybe see his teammate crossing in front of him. No, he's that far ahead, he hasn't even got to look at him yet. The cage is no problem. The corkscrew is gone. That wall, yeah, we won't even worry about that. The tunnel is fine as well. Those pylons disappear past J-Box. He's finishing in style. What are Haven going to do? Cyclone make it 3-0.
Oh.
Dude, that was clean, dude. Nice.
Haven look like they don't really know how they're going to stop this charge from Cyclone Racing. And the big heat will be coming up next. But first, let's take another look at some very dominant flying. First with Baraktal, who was with J-Box throughout the first lap. Both of them very close to those balloons, not giving themselves a lot of room to spare. Drop through the drop gate is good. None of the problems that we saw earlier on in the day. The ladder, very nice there as well. Here's Eid. His run through the cage is good, but his exit out of it is too far to the left. That means he hits the corkscrew on the approach over to it. And you saw how he went through the gates, pointing straight down to the ground. Have a look at Baraktal's route through the corkscrew. Just about makes the first one, goes through the second one sideways, and then turns. At the cage, Peterson turns around it and then hits it twice. I'll tell you though, the recovery is very quick. Managed to fly straight through with those bumps, but nearly overshot the corkscrew, and then we saw him earlier in the tunnel. As I said, that takes a while to recover from. J-Box looked pretty perfect, but here he is at the start of lap number 2, just going underneath that tunnel and hitting it. Didn't take too much time out of him though. Baraktal goes deep on the first part of the slalom and then tries to turn too shallow here and catches the pole instead. The rest of it was all up to J-Box with a 6-second lead at the finish. As you can see, nobody's even got sight of him as he ends the race. So it's time for that big heat I mentioned. Legendary in the DCL. All 8 pilots racing at the same time. It used to get you 4, 3, 2 or 1 points for coming in first, second, third and fourth in previous seasons. But this year, it's 1 point for winner takes all. And it is all Cyclone in 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment. Here's Holshagen leading the charge for Haven Airborne, cutting in on the drop gate and giving us a really solid run around the ladder now. And he moves up into third, heading up to the balloons. He's getting caught on the inside. Zion and Baraktal have passed him. Back up into third and fourth. It's all purple into the cube with Holshagen still the best of the pilots for Haven. Eads racing along, Holden trying to stay in the fight as well. Peterson's not going to feature, it would seem. Here's Zion currently down in fourth. Here's the drop gate catching him out. That's dropped him down. That's sent Holshagen and Eid into third and fourth now as we start lap number 2 with J-Box still out in the front. Holshagen charging for Haven. Let's see what he does here on the second lap. Through the Foxeer gate is okay so far, and they weave their way through the slalom. Zion attacking this drop gate and being okay there, but he's so wild! Can't find his way into the ladder, and he loses some more time. Holshagen's the third place chaser around the balloons. Out in front of him is the Ice Cheetah, who flew so well earlier today. Holshagen's heading across the corkscrew. A bit quicker, he's past the Ice Cheetah. It's just J-Box in front of him, but it's almost 2 seconds between them. J-Box weaves around. Holshagen's got a lot of Cyclone purple drones for company, and J-Box out in front has nobody anywhere near him. On lap number 3, over the balloons. Angular approach for that. That worked out well. Holshagen still in second and trying to keep up on the chase. Doesn't need to worry about the drones from behind. Remember, if Haven don't win this race, this series is over. It'll be 4-0 to Cyclone. We won't need the rest of the best of 7. Holshagen or one of his teammates has got to win this, and surely the only one who can do it is Holshagen, but he slipped a little bit further behind J-Box, who's through the corkscrew and away. 2.8 going on 3 seconds now with a lead over Holshagen, who's giving it everything he's got, but he's not just failing to keep up with J-Box, he's being caught by the Ice Cheetah into second place now. J-Box is flying very near the edge. Almost got hit on that wall. He's been close to the balloons every time. His route down to the Foxeer gate is blind, but he makes it work. It's dangerous and risky, but with a 2.8 second lead over his teammate and a little bit more over the best of Haven here, J-Box has surely got this sewn up. As he goes around the balloons, he'll see a purple and white drone crossing. That's the Ice Cheetah and Holshagen, who are over 3 seconds behind him, and the Ice Cheetah is leaving Holshagen behind too. Holshagen was flying so well, but the race has got away from him. J-Box coming to the final turns now. The Ice Cheetah looks like he's got second place sewn up. It's going to be a 1-2 for Cyclone and a 4-0 overall.
All right, yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, boys, good run.
Yeah, nice.
Good job.
Man, I made so
guys.
many mistakes.
That's it.
Not the biggest of celebrations I've ever seen at the end of a duel. Zion saying he made so many mistakes, he came in 13 seconds behind by the end. J-Box had a lot of company very early on from his team and a little bit from Haven, but most of Haven really didn't get into the battle at all. J-Box flying nicely out in front. Eid crashes in the slalom, not this first part, but the second pole. That's a slightly unusual place for people to hit in Reutte, and then after making that work, he's okay at the drop gate, but the ladder trips him up. Zion got caught out on it as well. He comes in extremely quickly, doesn't hit the same crossbar, he hits one of the verticals. Let's see Holshagen's excellent battle in lap number 2. As he comes into the corkscrew, he's behind, but he comes out in front. Let's see that from the Ice Cheater's perspective, through the cage, nicely done. White Joe just coming across him and then exiting just in front of him. And that battle went on and on, as you can see here. Holshagen going a little bit wider and then comes back in. A lap later, they're still at it in the same place. They go into the tunnel. Very little room between them. Watch here, though. The Ice Cheater's on the inside and Holshagen goes wide. And on the 4th lap, the cage finally grabs a hold of him. And his chances of getting up into second slipped further, but of course it's J-Box's position in first that he had to try and get, or any of his teammates needed, as that is the winning point for Cyclone. So congratulations Zion, the Ice Cheater, J-Box and Baraktal, 4-0 win over Haven Airborne. The Ice Cheater getting 2 of them, and then J-Box getting his 2v2 and the all-in big heat. Elsewhere, many more 4-0s. X-Blades over Mach 1, Raven Racing over the Wildcard team, the China Dragons beating Alpha Prop Racing 4-0. And then a bit of a surprise, not that Quad Force 1 were the winners, but that they did it 4-0 over SDT Perpetuum Coin, who've been flying brilliantly this season. That means X-Blades Racing remain out in front and Quad Force 1 remain 1 point behind them. Then it's the 2-time reigning world champions of Raiden Racing in 3rd. China Dragons still in 4th, and Cyclone's win just now doesn't move them up any higher than 5th. STT Perpetuum Coin remain down in 6th place. After that, it's Haven, the DCL Wildcard team, Alpha Prop Racing, and Mach 1. It's not going to be a split 1 finals for those 4 teams. So it's one more race day before we take our top 6 teams to our live finals. SDT will see if they can recover more points against the team we just saw fall to Cyclone. Alpha have Raiden. X-Blades and Quad Force 1 is a battle between the top 2 teams of the leaderboard. What a thriller that has been year after year after year. Mag 1 have got the wildcard team, and China Dragons against Cyclone are very evenly matched. I'm Matt Andrews. Thank you for watching the Drone Champions League, and we will see you in the skies!